Either if it's intentional or not intentional, home ownership to the average American is becoming more unobtainable every day. And what's happening is there's this push to create more people into renters than there are homeowners. It is simply what is happening. The average person with down payment funds, some closing cost funds, are no longer able to buy, and they don't want to live with mom and dad, so they're going to rent. For today, I don't want to talk about another corporate cash buyer, because actually I looked up here in Phoenix, I was looking up if they bought any houses, and it doesn't seem like they've been very active purchasing houses here in the Phoenix area for the last 2 or 3 years. Holy shit. They are still buying houses. But instead, I'm going to talk about probably one of the largest corporations. I think last I checked, is it the largest company? I'm not sure. Who is responsible for, rentals in general. The company we're going to talk about today is Invitation Homes. You guys might notice them, might have noticed them around if you're looking to rent. You might be renting for them currently. So this is why they caught my attention. According to this article here and a few others as well, Invitation Homes has announced it will raise rent prices and renewals by 5.8% and 14% on newly signed leases. The second thing that really just made me raise an eyebrow, if you will, is this Invitation Homes and Pulte Group partnership. Invitation Homes eyes expansion with Pulte Group partnership. Firms will purchase 7,500 new homes from construction giant as single-family rental market remains hot. This partnership will not yield a significant change in the firm's overall strategy, it is said, but will grow Invitation's portfolio by nearly 10%. The company owns 80,000 homes across the U.S. as of June 30th. So this is why this is crazy for me, okay? So right now, once again, I feel like I keep talking about the same thing every video. I'm going crazy over here. I think, the lack of inventory has been primarily one of the big factors of what's going on here. Like here, let me show you Phoenix, Arizona area. Right now, we're at 7,000 listings, which is crazy. We were at 4,000 or 5,000 just months ago. So there is definitely an uptick of new potential listings hitting the market. But the problem is we still need more. I'm sorry, we still need more. Now, this 7,500 homes, I'm pretty sure it's just not one specific area. It's, let's say, if right now, if I look up Invitation Homes, they're only available in these select cities here, right? So with 12 houses. Look, I can do math quickly. They're not going to be doing that, but let's just assume that $7,500 homes get divided by 12. Let's just assume they're taking 625 homes from each neighborhood. Now, I don't think it would be all 12. It would be probably select, so it'd probably be more, but let's just say, we'll say 1,000 just to kind of get a good idea, because I'm pretty sure they're not building in every one of them. So that's 1,000 potential listings that could potentially serve buyers and potentially ease the pain of the intense inventory demand. And that is not going to be presented on the table for them. Instead, what's going to happen is it's going to be bought out immediately and be available for rent. Now, you guys might think, well, it's not bad. How bad is it for rent? Renting is good. Everybody rented at one point in time. I 100% agree with you. But check this out. Let's say right now I have a family of 2 kids and a wife, so it's 4, right? So we need 3 or 4 bedrooms, right? So if I wanted to look at a home in Phoenix and I go 4 bedroom and I go 2 bath and let's just look and see what pops up. We're looking at least over $2,250. I want to live in Chandler or Gilbert, right? 2625, that's insanity. So let's say I want to live in this house, 514 East Kyle Court, available for $2645. Well, if I look up the value on it really quick, according to Redfin, it's approximately, actually this house was bought 2 months ago. The wheels are turning. Have they been buying houses? To 30 of them, looking to see if they bought houses, and everything was bought in 2018. Oh wow, they are buying properties. They bought 10,000 under price cash, but they're not using their name. This specific house was bought 2 months ago with SFR Javelin Borrower LP, and I have not looked up this specific name. So here's what I'm gonna do now. Kind of go off course for a bit. Holy shit. They are still buying houses. This house was listed at 400 and they bought it for 450. Okay, so never mind. we got lucky and I found out that there was one house that they actually did buy recently, and it was bought 2 months ago, and they are still buying properties under SFR Javelin Borrower LP. If we do our normal look up the address of the owner thing, which we go by Maricopa County's assessor site, which is all public information. We go to owner information. It's the name street is 1717 Main Street, Suite 200, Dallas. We go and Google that. It is Invitation Homes. Looks like they're buying properties under SFR Javelin Borrower LP. And they have bought a lot of houses. Not a lot, 141. Let's look up at kind of what's a few of these houses here. Here's one in Tolleson, listed at $315, bought for $315 cash. Another one listed at $325, bought for $330 cash. Listed $365, sold for $375. Okay, never mind. We took them out of the cash buyer pile. We are not putting them in there. They are still buying cash properties right now with the intention of renting them higher. So look at that. Real time you guys are seeing this happen. Pretty awesome. But anywho, so it looks like they're still being properties bought under Javelin, which I'm assuming is some kind of code name or some sorts. I'm not sure. There's two active things happening here then. There are, just like the other companies we discussed in previous videos, buying properties cash. I haven't seen anything egregious. I think I saw one for like 10,000 over, so that's not too bad. I mean, I say it's bad, yes, but compared to some other ones that are like 50 or 80,000 in previous videos, not too bad. But secondly, we're also seeing them make deals with big giant builders with the idea to create rental communities. So what I was originally going to show you guys before I went on this tangent was this house on Kyle Court, right? The one that's currently for $2,645. I can't talk now anymore. So if I was to buy this house at $450,000 with a down payment of like 5%, interest rate of about 3%, we can accurately change the property tax to like $2,000 a year, so that would be only about $166 a month. And home insurance will leave it at $66. HOA is like 80 something a quarter, so we'll do like, I don't know, 25. Monthly payments only $2,059. So yes, you would need an initial down payment of 5%. Yes, you would need to pay some closing costs, and unfortunately in this market, yes, you would need to do something creative with the appraisal. But hence, if it was a normal market, because I would say that this kind of craziness is being caused, is being caused by these cash buyers, that would only be about $2,100 payment. So not only that, but let's just assume that your price increased about 3%, which it's kind of crazy because it's been like 5 or 10% in the last 5 or 10 years in Phoenix, and especially this last 2 years, it's been like 20, almost 20%. So let's just assume it's a normal market and it would be an increase of 3%. Well, we get $450,000, okay? Multiply by 1.03, and which would essentially add 3% to it. We get 463. Well, let's do that 4 more times so we can duplicate what 5 years would mean for this person. After 5 years, that house would be estimated worth approximately, okay, just doing approximate numbers here, $75,000 more on their initial investment. Because remember, these guys didn't buy, they bought at $450, but they put 5% down, so their loan amounts be like maybe what, $420, $430. They could potentially sell it 5 years later for $525, making 70 plus 25, $95,000. But of course, you gotta pay fees and whatnot. So let's just assume $50,000 to $80,000 that they would make. Now, I just want you guys to think this. The American dream has always been, hey, you can go buy a house. And I've always been critical of the fact of, this being the only thing sold to lower and middle classes. Like, hey, you can buy a house and that's it. But even for those folks, me specifically, if I have never bought my first house when I was 19, 20 years old and sold it 2 or 3 years later and made $20,000, $30,000 on it, I don't think I would be here today, because that 20 or 30K was essential to not only pay off my debt at the time, but give me the catapult I needed in my life to move forward to the next steps. Now, this potential where this person could have made a potential $50,000 to $70,000 after fees and whatnot, that 50 or 70K would have been life-changing if they decided to sell 5 years later, right? Not only that, if they were renting, guess how much they would have gotten back? Nothing. So this is far more than, they're turning us into renters. They're removing the opportunity for us to invest in our futures. If you look up Invitation Homes performance, okay, they actually have like second quarter results on businesswire.com. I believe they even have on their own page where they have their earnings release and supplemental information. They have their stock information, their webcast, SEC filings, 80,000 homes and counting. They, once again, what they're doing is not wrong, but you can clearly see here that they're having really positive results with this market. So for those who think the market's going to crash every second, there's companies like this who are investing a ton of money to turn us all into renters, basically. And they're overbidding on these properties. They're buying them cash. They would not be just simply doing this if it was just going to be for funs and giggles and they thought things were going to crash. Here's the thing. I was on a podcast recently with, they call it the Real Migos. And one of the gentlemen there that has a really sweet mullet had a really good anecdote about how even if you watch It's a Wonderful Life, right? I love that movie. I watch it every Christmas. There's an old guy, I forgot the name of it. I'm sure it'll pop up on the screen right now, who essentially is working against George the entire time because he wants to make everybody into renters. And George is trying to make everybody into homeowners, right? He's trying to, through elbow grease and whatnot, make sure to keep that dream alive for people. And this old guy just wants to make everybody into renters. He wants to own all the land and the property so everybody can rent from him. So essentially his point of the anecdote was, this is not something new. This has been something that's always been present in our society. The older, more wealthier folks have been wanting to own the land and then allow us to lease it because it benefits their interest to make sure that they get the value of everything. So I will go back to my original point, as I've always said. The number one way we can combat this, we have to become homeowners. Oh God, he's a real estate agent. Of course he's saying that. I don't care. You have to become a homeowner. That's your only opportunity you have to not only be in on this investment, even if it, let's say, for all my crazy people out there, let's say you lose half of your value next year, the market crashes, everything's on fire. You're at a fixed rate interest rate. As long as you can afford your monthly payment and it will eventually bounce back up, you will be fine. Okay. The problem last time was everybody was in adjustable rate mortgages. Get a fixed interest rate, afford your monthly payment, and you can survive anything that might happen. These companies are going to find a way to do it. You can too. Okay. So I go back to this point. If you can't buy right now, this market's crazy. Start preparing, start saving, start getting your stuff together. And listen, if you have to get out of your parents' house, you have a family and you're not in a position to buy, then you know what it is? That's what rentals are good for. It is good for you to have some opportunity for you to move out. However, don't make that your lifelong goal. If you're at a rental, think of it as a temporary solution. Make sure to strengthen your situation, strengthen your resolve so you can get yourself out of that rental to buy your own home. Rentals are valuable. I'm not saying rentals are completely terrible in society. I rented our first place we moved out to. We rented it because we could not be in a position to buy. But it should be a temporary solution. It should not just be the permanent solution for all people out there. Cool? Been listening?